is the equivalent of what men feel when after we're divorced, the ex-wives drop a lot of weight and look super sexy. We're sitting here thinking, where was that effort when we were married? Why are you doing it only after we're divorced?
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Omaomi, aka Petite Diva, and in this video we are discussing why women glow up immediately after they break up or they have a divorce. Now, people have said that women usually when they get a divorce, when they have a breakup, that they usually glow up, they look better, they look happier, their skin is looking great, and people are discussing the various reasons why that occurs. So let's check out what people have to say about why women glow up after a divorce or breakup, and then I'll come back to share my thoughts. Now, before we continue this video, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you like videos such as this and you are not yet subscribed, please consider subscribing by clicking on the red button that says subscribe, and don't forget to click on the bell notification icon by the side so that you're notified anytime I upload videos. Now, let's get into this video.
Why women get a glow up after divorce. I've seen this topic trending amongst clearly misogynistic men all over social media. These guys, they're working themselves into a tizzy. They cannot get over the fact that their now ex-wife is looking better than ever. But the answer is simple. It's not because they got the money they deserved in their settlement. It's because they have so much more energy and so much clarity now that they're not bogged down taking care of you.
That's true.
You can always tell when a man is holding his girlfriend back because when they break up.
The thing that I've learned about this is that a lot of the times as us ladies, we go into relationships, and I don't know why we are under the understanding that in order to be like good partners, we have to give. And it's like we're pouring so much into a relationship that isn't nurturing us back. And that's when we become depleted. That's when we stop talking to our friends. That's when we start speaking in we rather than I. And it's like we stop being individuals and we start viewing ourselves solely through the lens of the relationship. And I don't know at what point we learned that in order to be a good partner, we have to be sacrificial. Because I truly do believe that like it's not until you go through the breakup that a lot of us, if we don't know how to show up in a relationship and how to show up for ourselves at the same time, we end up pouring so much into the relationship. And it's not until we break up that we end up pouring all of the love, the time, the intention back into ourselves. And that's when we glow up.
That's true.
That's my theory. I don't really think that like it's an intentional thing that men do, that they're like, I want to hold this bitch back, unless he's like super toxic and like actually abusive and sees a lot of potential that he literally wants to crush. But other than that, I feel like a lot of the times it's how we ourselves show up in the relationship, because we believe that in order to be good partners, we have to be like self-sacrificial, and we don't.
Why are some women so much happier after a divorce? Have you ever noticed how divorced women are out here glowing, traveling, starting new businesses, living their best lives, while divorced men are struggling? As a divorce lawyer, I see this play out all the time. And let me tell you, it's not a coincidence. For so many women, marriage was another job.
That's true.
They were the emotional support system, the house manager, the default parent. They were carrying the weight of the relationship, while their husbands got to just exist in it. So when the marriage ends, it's not the loss of a partnership, it's the loss of a burden.
That's true.
They're not responsible for a grown man's happiness. They do not have to remind anyone to take the trash out. They do not have to manage someone else's emotions while ignoring their own. And that freedom, that peace, it's priceless. Meanwhile, a lot of men who were coasting through their marriage now have to do things that they took for granted. Cooking, cleaning, making their own doctor's appointments. And on top of that, they realized too late that their wife was the one keeping their life together.
True.
Women are thriving after divorce because for many of them, it's the first time in years they get to put themselves first. And honestly, they deserve it.
Why do girls go through a major glow up after a breakup? It's not that you go through a glow up magically, like, oh, you break up with someone, you go through a glow up. That's not the way it works. Here's the thing. When you're with someone, when you have feelings for somebody, you put them on a pedestal. The reason why you put them on that pedestal is because you're exerting so much of your beautiful, positive, good energy onto that person because of the potential that you see in that relationship. So you like this person, you're giving them that good energy. Now, when all that's over, And if you decide, because it's a conscious choice, you decide that, you know what, I'm going to put my energy into myself, right? You start going to the gym, you start eating good, you start doing good, you start feeling good because you're giving yourself those good vibes. That's what the glow up is. You pull back on the energy that you were giving to someone who wasn't appreciating it, and you pour it onto yourself. So that's the reason why they were so great. They were so great because you were giving them that positive energy. So now in turn, you become great for yourself because you start putting that energy into yourself. You want to go through a glow up, give your energy to yourself. Your energy is beautiful. Your energy is irreplaceable. Your energy you need for yourself. But what we do is that we give it to other people for the potential of what could be. Love yourself, glow up for yourself. And if you do get into another relationship, don't lose sight of who you are.
Yeah, that's true.
You got this.
Is the equivalent of what men feel when after we're divorced, the ex-wives drop a lot of weight and look super sexy. We're sitting here thinking, where was that effort when we were married? Why are you doing it only after we're divorced? Now, I don't have that answer, but to the ladies watching, why is that?
I have the answer, and all of the women watching will be nodding along with me. There are 3 types of men as husbands and or fathers. There are men that default most, if not all, of the mental and physical responsibility for parenting and domestic household to women. And it's not specific to women that are stay-at-home moms, but of course,
All women.
that's the most common excuse that men give for doing that. Secondly, there are men that help their wives with the mental and physical responsibility of parenting and domestic household, specific to her returning that favor with something that is for his own personal needs. They will do the dishes, they will put their kids to bed at night after giving them a bath, but their feeling of responsibility and their willingness to do so is connected to whether or not they're getting what they want from her, usually physically. If they're not, they will be much less willing and much more likely to complain about having responsibility for those things. And thirdly, there are men that carry their share of responsibility, both physically and mentally, for parenting and domestic household because they want to and it's rewarding for them. Whatever they are experiencing in their interpersonal, romantic, physical relationship with their wife is separate from the way they feel about responsibility for parenting and domestic household. Women that glow up after divorce are married to one of the first 2 types of men, and women that glow up in the marriage are married to the 3rd type of man. I'm married to the 3rd type.
The most productive person on earth is a woman fresh out of a breakup.
Me, I can explain why that is. So here's the thing. When it comes to relationships and breakups, a breakup is a death. It is the death of a relationship. And all deaths require a mourning and grieving period. The difference between men and women is that when a man has decided that he is done with the relationship, he leaves right then and there, which means he then has to go through a grieving process, adjusting to not being with this person anymore. He has to go through all of that mourning after the breakup ends. Women, on the other hand, are different. When a woman gets the nudge that she needs to leave a relationship, she comes up with 50 million reasons for why she should stay in the relationship. She works on trying to make things better, trying to accept the man the way that he is, working on healing herself, all of that. By the time a woman actually leaves the relationship, she's done the grieving process. She's done her mourning, all of that. So when she leaves, she is immediately ready to move on with her life and have that quote unquote glow up.
So I got a question for the ladies. Why is it that y'all wait till after y'all leave a man to boss up?
It takes a special kind of man to encourage a woman while he's in the relationship with her not to forget herself and to prioritize herself even while in a relationship with him. A lot of women are nurturers by nature. We put all of our time and energy and effort into our loved ones. We care for people. We tend to be selfless, and we'll go last. We'll eat last. We will sacrifice our hair and nail money for this and that. Like, it takes a special kind of man to make sure that his woman prioritizes herself in a relationship with him. To not just let all of her energy be, soaked up by him. To say, here's my card. Why don't you get your hair and your nails done? Why don't you book yourself a massage? I'll take the kids while I'll run you a bath, or I'll cook for tonight. It takes a special kind of man who can also pour into her the way she has poured into him. Some of these men will allow a woman to pour until their cup overflows, but never think to pour back into that woman. And you can't pour from an empty cup. The reason why those women aren't glowing and thriving and all of these things while in a relationship with you is because you didn't notice or you didn't care that her cup was empty.
Today, a guy on TikTok asked why after a woman gets divorced, why she starts to look better, why she loses weight, and why didn't she put all that effort in when they were still married to them? Go ahead and state your answer. I'm going to tell you mine. When I was married, I had 2 young children, and one has special needs, and I had these 2 dogs, and no fence, and a large house, and a husband, and I just was overwhelmed to the point where there was no respite. And there was a mom group every maybe month or 2, but there was no respite, and I was worn out. And one morning, the guy that was coming in to put the underground fence in and then train the dogs, I threw on some sweats. I barely got any, my hair was all crazy. And I opened the door, and I've got one kid on my arm, and I've got another one that's in the bathroom needing help. And I was like, I'm so sorry, I'm a mess right now, but come in and, you can get started with the dogs. And he said, you know how you can tell the alpha dog? Now I get it, this guy trains dogs for a living, and so this was the best metaphor he could come up with, although somewhat backhanded, but I got it. He said, you see, the alpha dog is in charge of all the dogs. And the most stress and the most pressure is on them for survival, for providing food, for finding the means for it, for doing all of it. They don't get a break. They just go. That part I related to. Not the alpha dog so much, but I understood where he was going. And while things got revealed in time about the man that I was married to and why I was not going to allow things to go on that were being done to me in the absence of my knowing they were going on was the catalyst. But after that separation, I started to get weekends and time for myself. What? Not just maybe a day every other month or something. And then reassessing my, the things I like to do and people that I started to become better friends with. And pretty soon I was in a career after some time and thriving and finding myself. And the thought of giving up all that work I put in to allow that to happen again kind of stops me in my tracks because I value my peace. I just value my peace now. But it also kind of reminds me of when Cher's mom looked at her and said, Cher, why don't you just marry a rich man and settle down? And Cher looked at her mom and she said, Mom, I am a rich man. Well, Mom, I am an alpha dog. I don't need another one. I run this pack just fine on my own. It's taken that long.
So I went to dinner last night with a newer friend of mine who's in her early 50s. And when I tell you that this woman is looking better, living better, having more fun, having better dates than the majority of people my age, I know I'm underselling it. This chick is in a full-on renaissance, and I actually don't think her case is that unusual. And I say this because we convince women to waste years, if not decades of their lives in mediocre to bad marriages by implying that they basically have no other options after the age of 30, especially if they've had kids. And that is quite literally not true. Not only do many women report much higher levels of satisfaction post-divorce, which totally makes sense when you consider how many of them were being expected to take on the full domestic labor burden while also working a full-time job and basically had to take care of their spouse as another child, but older women are fucking hot. Like, obviously my friend is a sample size of one, but trust me that she has no problems adding some like truly god tier men to her roster. But also, if you doubt that older women are attractive, like take a quick glance at some of the most searched adult terms in this country. But what's really so hot about them is being at a place in their lives where they realize that they don't need a romantic partner at any cost, and they would simply rather choose themselves than be with someone who doesn't fulfill them. Anyway, if you're in a mediocre to bad hetero marriage as a woman and you think that that's it for you, know that it is not. It is lit on the other side, and the sooner you realize that, the more power you'll have.
Bro, I do not understand, I never will, that after breakup glow, the women go through me, y'all stop talking. It's something about that, just transform. That shit will have your chest hurting. No cap. She started getting her hair done every other week, nails done every week, posting pictures looking good, going to the gym, working on her body, getting that body right, tight. And you looking like, damn, you never do none of this when we were together, you know. Yeah, you anytime when we was together, you walked around the house with a button on, some sweatpants and a tall tee. Now you looking like America's next top model. I just don't understand. That shit will have your chest hurting. No cap.
You can always tell when a man is holding his girlfriend back because when they break up, she goes off on social media, basically on everything. And then we in the audience are like, dang, that man was really holding you back. And you might just say like, oh, she's just doing all of that to get attention. But guess what? It's working because you have my attention. You're actually a baddie. And it's so easy to get caught up in a relationship where all you ever identify yourself is as a girlfriend. But you can't experience who you actually are until you're completely alone and single. Anyways, that's it.
My boy, if she has this crazy glow up after y'all break up, you were the problem.
Right?
You.
After we're divorced, the ex-wives drop a lot of weight and look super sexy.
While I agree that there may be these three categories of men, I think there's more to it. I think doing this long enough, you see that men will thrive more in a marriage, whereas women tend to thrive more after a divorce. And it's a lot different now because men and women are emotionally changing. And it's not like it was when only women were stay-at-home moms and divorce really hit them financially. But now women are more in the workforce and they see divorce as a mental shift. They will change their lifestyle. Maybe they never went out and hung out with people. So now they are. They're going to concerts. They're going to parties. They're going out to dinner. They're spending more time with friends and family. They have to figure out how to co-parent when they were maybe the sole provider at home for the kids. I mean, there's so many different things that they change in their lifestyle that their whole mindset changes. Their whole outlook on life changes. And not only is their outside appearance going to change, but their mind is going to change as to how they feel about themselves.
Fun fact. If you glow up after a breakup, the person you were with wasn't your person. And it took breaking up with them to become a better version of yourself. Didn't do it with them, didn't do it for them, but now you're better. The only conclusion.
So, before I share my own opinion, I would love to hear what you guys think is the reason why women glow up after a breakup or divorce. So please leave your comment in the comment section. Personally, I agree with some of the people who talked about the reason why women glow after a breakup or a divorce. I think it's because when they are with their partner, a lot of women forget themselves because they are always doing things for others. And like someone said, a lot of women are naturally nurturers. So they forget themselves. They are always self-sacrificing and they are putting into others. So they don't consider themselves while they are in the relationship. But when there's a breakup, when there's a divorce, they realize that they have a lot of time to put that effort into themselves. And then they begin to remember to take care of themselves. They remember to be happier. They do things that make them happier. And then you see that glow up. So it's not a case of them having so much money at that time. It's a case of they have so much time and they are not putting all their energy into another person that might not appreciate it. So I think that is a major reason why women glow up after a breakup or divorce. It's not a revenge thing. It's not anything. It's just a case of women realize that you have to put yourself first, and they also have the time and the effort to put themselves first. Now, personally, I also think that the glow up also occurs in cases where people are in a friendship or even family relationship where they are always giving to others, where they are always being nice to others, where they are trying to be people pleaser, when they decide to stop being nice and or they decide to center themselves, you find out that because they are no more putting others first and they are putting themselves first so that they can pour from a full cup, you see that they begin to glow up, they begin to do things, they begin to do things that will make them happy, they begin to achieve things that they always wanted to achieve. So basically, centering yourself after a breakup or divorce, or even in a family relationship or friendship, would help to give you that glow up that you might not have had when you are putting others first. Now, I would love to hear what you guys think about this whole topic. What do you think is the major reason why women glow up after a breakup or divorce? Please leave your comments in the comment section so that we can get this discussion popping. Now, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you are not yet subscribed and you like videos such as this, please consider subscribing by clicking on the red button that says subscribe, and don't forget to click on the bell notification icon by the side so that you're notified anytime I upload videos such as this. Now, with all that said, thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.